Did you get it?
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Welcome to the March 13th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting. If you haven't had a chance, you please, if you would, sign outside so we know who was present tonight. I appreciate that. And we will do the roll call. Would that be you, Jennifer? Or? Okay.
Austin Boudreaux.
Present.
Durbin.
Present.
Jeff Martin.
Here.
Grant Moore.
Here.
Steve White.
Here.
Nick Sutton. Susan Ralston.
Here.
Tina King.
Present.
And then Burl Carpenter is not here, and Jeff Peters. Well, Amanda. Yeah, sorry, Amanda.
Present.
Thank you. You've all had a chance to see the minutes from the February 13th meeting. Any changes or a motion will be accepted on those minutes?
I'll make a motion we approve the February 23rd, 2023 minutes as approved.
There is a motion for the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. McDermott will second. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, the minutes pass. As Jennifer said, that are you okay with being our representative for the publicly speaking?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you for acknowledging that. Appreciate that. Don't believe that we have any old business. We'll move on to new business. The way the meeting will work is the planning staff will read a planning report for the petition, for each petition of the evening. Then the commission will then address their questions to the planning staff. Then when that is done, a petitioner will be asked to come forward and outline any further discussion or points. Then when that is closed, the staff may then, or the commission may then have questions for the petitioner. We'll close that. And then if anyone wishes to speak for or against the petition, then they will be welcome to do so. We'll close the public hearing. We'll talk to see if there's any outside correspondence. And then we will have a motion and a vote on the individual petition. So with that, I see that we have one that's tonight that wishes to be continued for the next meeting. We'll probably need a motion to approve that so that we can move that forward to April. Would anybody like to make a motion that we continue the application for the MSD Bride Avenue and that issue until the April 10th meeting?
Just know that I have to recuse myself on this case.
Okay.
I would make that motion.
There is a motion for that. Susan makes a motion. Is there a I'm sorry, Tina makes a motion.
Until April the 10th.
Okay.
And I'll
Susan will second. All those in favor of moving that to April, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that issue will continue at the April meeting. Our first petition tonight, Brett, would you be reading that?
I will be.
Okay, we'll do so.
Okay. The first staff report for this evening is going to cover the Sanders Woods subdivision. The application type is the primary and secondary plat. The applicant is Enos and Bess Sturry. The landowner is Nancy Sanders. The location is in the 2000 block of West 70 North in Angola. The current zoning is zoned R1, low density, single family residential district. The hearing date is today's date, March 13, 2023. Legal notices appeared in the Herald Republican on March 3rd. 15 property owners within 300 feet of the location were sent notice, and certificate of mailings were returned on February 27th. Applicable code is Title 18 of the Unified Development Ordinance, Indiana Code, Subdivision Control 36-7-4-700 series. Not located within a floodplain, And staff recommendation is conditional approval. The petitioner wishes to split a 2-acre parcel from the remaining land. If you look at the map outlined in orange, that has been slowly parceled off surrounding 70 North. The owner, Nancy Sanders, purchased the property in the large box outlined in red in 1966 and has since been slowly parceling off of this ground to be developed by detached single-family homes. Today, a 3.77 acre is all that is left over. Part of the remaining land is 70 North, which is used for an ingress and egress to several homes. Ideally, staff would like to see a formalized agreement regarding the private street, which is called 70 North. The plat. The petitioner is proposing to split Lot 1, which is a 2-acre parcel, and it's colored in yellow, to eventually construct a single-family detached home. The remaining property is shown with red dash line. The parcel will be accessed from 70 North, highlighted in blue, which is the private street. The ingress and egress onto 70 North is part of Lot 1. However, we strongly encourage recordation of responsibility and maintenance to the easement. Lot 1 will easily meet all development standards. Additionally, Lot 1 is expected to receive all approvals for well and septic with Steuben County Health Department. However, documentation has not been provided. The properties are currently zoned R1. The property is located in our ETJ, the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction. The surrounding property uses include detached single-family dwellings, farm ground, and woods. The comprehensive plan, objective 1.5, strongly encourage redevelopment of underutilized, vacant, and abandoned structures or lots. And objective 1.16A, promote housing growth to attract and support the regional workforce and creative class population. Public input, the staff did not receive any public input as a result of the legal notices sent. And in conclusion, staff is supportive of the request. The subdivision will complete the remaining properties who have slowly been parceled off over the years. Staff strongly encourages a formal maintenance and a responsibility agreement to be recorded over 70 North easement.
Thank you. Does anyone have questions regarding the application for staff as it's presented?
I do. So the 70 North is a private street, but it's a deeded easement for all of the homes there? I mean,
We don't have documentation of each of the properties agreement. We've been told there is something in existence, but we do not have any documentation that the existing homes have any.
maybe this is a question for later, but I mean, you have it as the recorded commitment. Is there a reason why we wouldn't make it a condition for approval?
We would want to record it on the plat. That's why.
Okay.
So that piece, it essentially functions the same way, it's just where it is. So it would get recorded on this plat.
But the lots in them themselves, the way they're laid out currently, don't come together and with an understanding that the lane is there. It's like they're actually a survey space for them.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been told there is some sort of agreement, but we have nothing. So at least for this lot, I would like to.
Anyone else have a question?
You said that sewer and water from the city, apparently, is that right?
It will be on well and septic.
Can be private wells.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Okay, I wouldn't, if there is anyone who wishes to speak on behalf of this petition, you are welcome to do so. Okay, having no petitioner wishes to speak on for or against the,
Yeah, Enos,
Enos is here and
Okay.
Doug Sanders, did you guys wanna
You
discuss?
don't have to, but you're welcome.
Everything's right here.
Okay,
That's what we want to do.
okay, yep, fair enough, thank you. We will close that then. Does anyone have any further questions before we open it up to public comment? Okay, we will open this up to public comment. If anyone in the public wishes to speak for or against this petition, you're welcome to do so now. Okay, hearing none, we will close that portion. Have we received any comment? The notes say no, but anything further on? Okay. Then I would ask that we would read the findings of fact and actually call for a motion on this issue.
The planning commission shall make the following finding of fact. 1, the subdivision of land is consistent with the Angola Comprehensive Plan.
Yes.
The Sanders Wood subdivision is consistent with the Angola Comprehensive Plan by supportive measures which encourage redevelopment of underutilized, vacant, and abandoned structures and lots and promote housing growth to attract and support regional workforce and creative class population.
Agree.
The subdivision of land satisfies the development requirements of Division 4 of this title in subdivisions.
Well,
The Sanders Wood subdivisions will satisfy the standard subdivision requirements established in Division 4 subdivision types for the residential development once plan review comments and conditions of approval are adequately addressed.
agreed.
Number 3, the subdivision of land satisfies the standards of Division 5 of this title, design standards.
Well,
The Sanders Wood subdivision will satisfy the applicable design standards once plan review comments and conditions of approval are adequately addressed.
agree.
Number 4, the subdivision of land satisfies all other applicable provisions to the Unified Development Ordinance.
Well,
The Sanders Wood subdivision will satisfy other applicable provisions to the Unified Development Ordinance once the plan review comments and conditions of approval are adequately addressed.
Great.
Lastly, number 5, the subdivision of land satisfies the construction requirements of the City of Angola's construction standards. Again, the Sanders Wood subdivisions does not involve any construction at this time. Any further construction will satisfy construction requirements by the City of Angola.
I would call for a motion regarding this petition.
Make a motion, we approve the request for primary and secondary plat with the recorded commitment that a formal maintenance responsibility agreement for ingress, egress, easement 70 North is recorded on the plat.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Steve seconds. All those in favor of the motion as is presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, the motion has passed. Thank you. We will go on to case number 2.
Okay.
Brett?
Okay, the case number 2 for this evening's staff report is, project name is Foxview subdivision. Application type is primary and secondary plat. The applicant and owner is Matt Wells. The location of this property is in the 100 block of Fox Lake Road. Current zoning is R4, multiple family residential district. Hearing date is today's date, March 13, 2023. It appeared in the Herald Republican on March 3rd. 18 property owners within 300 feet were sent notice, and certificate mailings returned on February 24th. Applicable code is Title 18, the Unified Development Ordinance. It's not located within the floodplain, and staff recommendation is approval. The petitioner plans to develop on a vacant property in the 100 block of Fox Lake Road. The property is currently 1.63 acres. The applicant requests to subdivide the property into 5 lots. The petitioner plans to construct at a steady pace beginning as early as April of 2013. The Angola Board of Zoning Appeals approved the petitioner's requested variances on February 27, 2013, or 23rd. At which point the petitioner was granted a special exception on Lot 1 due for a dwelling, single-family detached. On lots 2 through 5, the petitioner intends to develop dwellings, two-family duplex. Variances were granted to reduce the side yard setback on all the lots to 8 feet, shown in blue. Additionally, between lots 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, request of a 0-foot setback, shown in green. And a reduction in minimum lot width for lots 2 through 5, going from 60 feet to 35.5 feet, and that is shown in yellow. Thus allowing for duplexes to be constructed and sold to different owners. The petitioner plans to subdivide the 1.63 acres into 5 lots. The furthest west lot is the largest, and the remaining lots equally split the remaining acreage. Along the north property line, new concrete sidewalks will be installed between the existing 20-foot right-of-way and proposed 30-foot front setback line. It is noted that Lot 1, Lots 2, 3, and Lots 4, 5 will encompass the granted 8-foot side yard setback. On Lot 1, largest of the lots at 0.683 acres, you will notice a 50-foot storm easement that runs along its east property line that serves the greater area. Due to this easement, the remainder of the land left between the property line and its infrastructure is only conducted for a dwelling, single-family detached. The remaining acreage is divided into 4 2.41 acre lots. Lots 2, 3, and 4, 5 have 0 setback and reflect approved lot width of 37.5 feet. Dwelling, two-family duplex will be incorporated on these lots. The property as stated is zoned R4. Immediate surrounding uses include to the north, detached single-family dwellings, the Pleasant View Church, to the south, Steuben County REMC and offices, to the east, dwelling, two-family duplex, and to the west is Lakeland Apartments. The Angola Comprehensive Plan speaks to several objectives in support of the project like this. Objective 1.5, strongly encourage redevelopment of underutilized, vacant, and abandoned structures and lots. Objective 1.7, encourage infill development to direct commercial and residential growth inside the corporate limits. And objective 1.10, encourage a broader range of housing types and mixed densities to better meet the needs of older residents and appeal to younger families in the workforce in Angola and Steuben County. The Steuben County completed a housing study in 2020. The study reports potentially over 2,000 households of all income levels have the potential to move into Steuben County each year. 31% are younger singles or couples, 24% are empty nesters or retirees, with 36% housing preference of rental units. The annual absorption rate of Angola alone is 26 to 33 rental units each year and 88 to 110 units countywide. As to this date, the public input, we have received none from the legal notices being sent. In conclusion, the staff is supportive of the request. The development of these properties is a simple and cost-effective way to increase density and allows more housing option within existing developed areas. In addition, dwelling single-family detached and dwelling two-family duplex support quality residential development in Steuben County.
Thank you. Do any members have questions for the staff regarding that petition? Okay. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on behalf of that petition?
Hey, everybody. My name is Matt Wells. I'm the owner and contractor of the project. I wanted to do just what Brett had mentioned.
Matt, could you state your address too? Because we keep it on the record.
It's the 100 block of Fox Lake Road.
Well, okay, that or just a mailing addresses.
I'm wanting to do just what Brett had mentioned. subdivide this property into 5 separate lots. One lot for a single family house and lots 2, 3, 4, and 5 to do 2 separate duplexes. Is there any questions?
Thank you. We will, if there are no further, oh no, we have to, yeah, I'm sorry. At this time, we will open the meeting up for public comment. If there's anybody who wishes to speak for or against this petition, you're welcome to do so now. Okay, seeing no one, I will close that portion. We've already commented that there's no outside correspondence. If there's no further questions, would you, Roger, go ahead and read the findings, please?
Absolutely. The Plan Commission shall make the following finding of fact. Number one, the subdivision of land is consistent with the Angola Comprehensive Plan.
Yes.
Foxview subdivision is consistent with the Angola Comprehensive Plan by supporting objectives 1.5, 1.7, and 1.10. Number two, the subdivision of land satisfies the development requirements of Division 4 of this title subdivisions. The Foxview subdivision will satisfy the standard subdivision requirements established in Division 4 subdivision types for residential development. Any standards not satisfied received a variance from the Angola Board of Zoning Appeals on February 27, 2023. Number three, the subdivision of land satisfies the standards of Division 5 of this title design standards.
Well.
The Foxview subdivision will satisfy the applicable design standards once plan review comments are adequately addressed. The subdivision is not proposing any internal streets or sidewalks. The subdivision of land satisfies, or number four, the subdivision of land satisfies any other applicable provisions of this title.
Well.
The Foxview subdivision will satisfy other applicable provisions of Unified Development Ordinance. The property will be developed in a manner consistent to complement the surrounding character. And lastly, number five, the subdivision of land satisfies the construction requirements of the City of Angola's construction standards.
Well.
The Foxview subdivision is honoring easements and setbacks to those easements that serve the greater community.
Thank you. With those findings of fact, we will accept the motion if one is made.
I'll move that we accept the primary and secondary plat application as presented.
There is a motion for the acceptance. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Susan will second. All those in favor of the motion as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, the motion is passed. Thank you. And we will go on to our third, will be the fourth case for this evening. I assume that these will be combined when we discuss these.
Correct.
And
There
the staff report will be combined. Okay, thanks.
are separate findings.
I'm sure there are.
All right, so this is the watershed storage condos. We're doing a secondary plat and a development plan approval tonight. So those are the two separate findings. The applicant is the watershed storage condos, Joe Martin. The owners are the watershed storage condos and Clayton and Judy Griffin. The address is 3330 and 3370 North State Road 127. The current zoning is C2, medium to large general commercial. They're requesting 3 waivers to open space, perimeter landscaping, and street lighting standards. Tonight, March 13th, is the hearing date. Legals appeared in the Herald Republican on March 3rd with 10 property owners receiving certificate of mailings on March 1st. Title 18 of the UDO applies along with Indiana Code Subdivision Control 367-4-700 series and developments Indiana Code Development Plan, which is 36-7-4-1400. The project is not located in a floodplain. The storage condos, they're a self-storage facility catering to recreational vehicles. The company has other facilities in LaGrange County. This board approved a primary plat in September 2022 with plans to create 7 tracts of ground. At this time, the applicant is requesting a secondary plat to Lot 1 and Lot 3 and the development plan approval for Lot 1, which will be developed immediately. So let's take a closer look at the existing property and adjacent uses. So this is a quick recap. The property is on C2, is located in the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction, the ETJ. Surrounding uses are primarily low intensity that includes on-developed land, a seasonal ice cream shop, golf course, and there is also a sand and gravel pit to the east, but it's not accessed on State Route 127. This site will gain its access from State Route 127, and which is identified as a major arterial according to our comp plan. It's located between newer commercial areas of Angola and the North I-69 exit, Pokagon exit up there. There's also a north-south trail along the west side of the road. For the secondary plat, so the secondary plat is the final approval required for new developable land to be created. The secondary plat should be based on the primary. A public hearing is generally not required unless there are significant changes to the primary plat, which is what we have tonight. The Plan Commission determines if if all the standards contained in Division 4 and Division 5 are met, or they can grant waivers to those. The secondary plat may be approved if we feel everything has been met. Final documentation signatures are required, and then we record that at the Steuben County Recorder's Office. So staff has determined that a public hearing is necessary because this does differ from the primary plat. The applicant is requesting waivers to the design standards. So Lot 1 and Lot 2 from the primary plat have been combined into what we're calling a Lot 1. Additionally, Lot 1 encompasses a private street. They're calling a watershed drive. And the front yard is from State Route 127, not Watershed Drive. The watershed storage condo subdivision is considered a commercial district subdivision, meaning the design standards for the commercial district subdivision in Division 4 apply. Those design standards include the development name, dedication of right-of-way, or public improvements, entry features, erosion control, easements, open space, owners association, pedestrian networks, perimeter landscaping, stormwater, streets, access, street lighting, surety, and utility. The applicant has requested waivers from the following design standards. The first one being open space. This section requires 10% of the lots to be set aside for open space. The second one being perimeter landscaping standards. This standard requires a 10-foot landscaping buffer along adjacent properties and a 15-foot landscaping buffer along perimeter streets. Trees, shrubs shall be provided at a combined rate of 10 per 100 lineal feet, plantings consisting of at least 50% being evergreen. The third waiver is street lighting standards. The standards require street lighting along a private street. As part of the secondary plat, a private street is being proposed to provide access to all the lots within the development. The private street, Watershed Drive, will be 24 feet wide gravel drive within a 40-foot private drive easement with access to State Route 127. Steuben County Highway Department has approved the gravel material. The private street bisects Lot 1. I should probably just go back to that. Lot 1 is the first lot that will be developed. They're proposing a 13.604 acres It will gain access to Watershed Drive directly from State Route 127. Lot 3 is proposed and it's 1.869 acres. It will gain access from Watershed Drive as well. It will have existing or additional access points in the southwest corner, abutting the private driveways on Lot 3. A cross-access easement should be noted on the secondary plat to protect this proposed access point. Stormwater will ultimately end up to the north side of Lot 1 through surface flow and elevation change. There are no public water or public sewer extensions for this development. There will be no natural gas available for the development. Electric for the development will overlap the private street access for Lot 1 and 3 for future lots to the east. Adjustments to the private access street easement may need to be made to include that electrical access. A detailed tree preservation plan needs to be submitted, especially as part of the preservation. Wooded area will be counted towards the open space requirement. As part of the development with 4 or more commercial lots and entry features required, this can also act as the development signage. However, we would approve that at a separate time, but we do want to note the location on the plat. So moving on to the second request, which is the development plan. The applicant is also requesting a development plan approval for Lot 1. The first lot will be developed. The development includes construction of over 162,000 square feet of storage space in the form of 75 single occupant, 8 double occupant, and 1 triple occupant building for storage. Each of the 75 single occupant buildings will be owned individually. Watershed storage condos will maintain ownership of the and triple occupied buildings as well as the entire property. The project received 3 development standards variances on February 27th from the Board of Zoning Appeals. Those include the minimum rear yard setback, which allowed 86 primary structures on Lot 1. Minimum rear yard setback, and then a maximum number of structures, which allowed 86 primary structures on Lot 1. The second one was the driveway standards. The internal drives, not Watershed Drive, was approved for the gravel material. And then the lot planting standards was reduced to 25 canopy trees, which is less than the required. Aside from Watershed Drive, users will also access the condos via 20-foot gravel drive throughout the entire development. The buildings will range from 36 by 48 feet, which are the single occupant, 40 by 10 feet, also single occupant. The 44 by 40 is a duplex. The 66 by 40 is a triplex or triple occupant, with height ranging from 2.6 to 24, basically 6. Those you see here, some different elevations. At this time, plans do not show the location for signs or any sign detail. However, an entryway feature is required as part of the secondary plat. The entryway feature can act as the signage for the development. The development does not require water or sanitary service facilities. Only electrical or electric utilities are proposed to run, and that is in that 40-foot private access drive. On-site stormwater drainage will run towards the north property line detention basin. The comprehensive plan speaks to developments like this. This area is shown as general agricultural in our future land use plan. Principle 1, managing community form and growth. And then principle 2, inspire community image. I'll let you guys look at those a little bit more. I will not continue to read this. There's been no public input as a result of the legal notices. So in conclusion, let's go through this secondary plat, the waivers they requested. So the applicant is requesting waivers for the lots that are subject to the secondary plat, Lot 1 and Lot 3. The Plan Commission should keep in mind that any waivers granted on only Lot 1 and Lot 3. So if waivers are desired for the remaining lots, those would need to be requested at a later time when they do secondary of those lots or amending the primary. So open space waiver request, so Lot 1 and Lot 3, they have an area of 15.5 acres. That calculates to 1.55 acres being identified as dedicated to open space. Staff recommends that with the 4-to-1 slope of the detention basin area be included in that open space calculation. These open space areas need to be identified in that secondary plat. The second requested waiver is perimeter landscaping. Staff recommends granting a partial waiver for this requirement. The northern tree line is preserved, maintained, and not altered. A detailed tree preservation plan is submitted, and that's in accordance with section 18.172.10. And then the 10-foot deep landscaping buffer be planted and maintained along the south property line. The buffer should include a 50% evergreen and shall include 10 trees or shrubs planting every 100 lineal feet of the property line. If the detailed tree preservation plan shows preserved trees within that area, each preserved tree should count as a credit towards that requirement. And then finally, the waivers. The street lighting waivers, staff recommends granting street lighting waiver request as they're already approving it. A gravel road is already required, and we do not believe that would be needed at this time. Do you want to just talk about that portion since that has its own findings?
Yeah, I think, because they're gonna have 3 different motions on each one of those. At some point, we're going to have to go through those 3, so. Do we wanna?
You have questions for me
Let's stop.
about the whole project or specifically the waivers?
Well, I guess I do on the
Okay.
waivers before we hear from the petitioner. If there a way to do those, I mean, obviously you guys have looked at this and have your feelings on the trees, the standards, the drainage slope, the lighting. If you just say waive those standards, you'd have to have some sort of verbiage in there that would carve out things that you'd like to see. I mean, with that, it's not just a waive or not waive kind of scenario, is it?
Yeah, it can be. So we do
Well, it
have.
could be, but I mean, that's probably not what I'm sensing that you guys want to see.
So on each of the final action sheets, you'll see conditions of approval that staff is recommending for each waiver.
Okay.
So that would be like.
That's what I'm
the
asking. I guess I'm
language.
asking is can the waivers be conditional is what, okay. Does anyone else have a question for staff regarding that? Before we go into the waivers and then. Okay, hearing that. Yeah, sir, you're welcome to take the floor if you like. Please state your name and address and,
My name is Wayne Richardson. I'm with Birch Frank and Associates. We're the civil engineers. My address is 1419 Windsor Woods Boulevard, Fort Wayne, Indiana. We'll start with just the waivers. For the open space requirements, the waiver that we're seeking is not for the amount of open space. We are providing more than the 10% of open space. We are actually at the end result of our project should have at least 37% of our site will be vegetated with lawn, landscaping type materials. What we are seeking is that your ordinance states that the slopes have to be 4-to-1 or flatter to count towards open space. And we have some slopes on our site that are up to 3-to-1 that we're installing. So basically what that means is for every 3 feet that it travels horizontally, it drops a foot, whereas your ordinance says it has to be flatter than that. Our site is basically 10% slope across the site. That's 10-to-1. from our high point to our low point across our site. And there's existing slopes on the site that we're maintaining and not impacting that are 2.5 to 1. So they're even steeper than what we're proposing. So for the open space waiver, we are definitely going to provide as much open space and more than what's required in the ordinance, as long as we can go with a slightly steeper slope. For the landscaping, the reason we're requesting the waiver for the landscaping on the north property line, that is the area where we're going to leave a very long chunk undisturbed. Then there's an existing pond that crosses from the north, the property to the north onto our site. We obviously can't landscape the pond and didn't want to add landscaping around that pond because we want to stay away from the banks of that pond as much as possible. And then further to the west, or further to the east, that's where our detention basin is. So basically you have undisturbed land for about 1/3 of our north property line. You have a pond for about 1/3 of our property line. And then you have our detention basin for 1/3 of our property line. So we were hoping to not install the landscaping buffer for the ordinance on that side. And then finally, the street lighting that we're requesting a waiver on. We're installing a private street for county highway. We're planning to install that as a gravel street. What we are requesting is a waiver to not have to light that per street lighting standards. It will still be lit. We will be doing site lighting for our development. So the roadway the private street will still be lit. Will be lit at a different rate than the the street lighting ordinance. So those are the three waivers we're seeking.
Thank you. Does anyone have a question for the petitioner? Some of that was a little hard to follow with the directions and whatnot, but this, the staff recommends on that tree line not being touched. Is that a problem with you folks as they have written there?
No, they had basically, based on what I had read through their recommendations, is that we would not have it required on the north side, and that but on the south side, we would still fully need it, and that's what we desire. And then, yes, we understand that there is the existing tree.
Preservation plan?
Yeah, the existing tree preservation plan that we need to go through.
So it sounds like for that particular item, you guys have probably, unless I'm misunderstanding, in agreement, but it sounds like maybe the sticking point might be that slope area. So, okay. Does anyone else have a question for the petitioner?
Does that sloping, is that a cause for any water retention in any way or form?
So based on conveying the water in the direction we want to, that's why we have these slopes. So we have 3 to 1 slopes in some of our swales that we've created, or similar to a ditch,
Right.
but much smaller. So we have 3 to 1 slopes on that. So it's just a little steeper. And then the same thing to get down to our stormwater basin, since it's on the low end of our site, we have some 3 to 1 slopes to get down to it. So it's just a little steeper than what the ordinance calls out for. It would normally be a little flatter that you would desire to count towards open space.
So, do you have the staff report in front of you?
Yeah.
What staff recommends for open space areas needed identified on the plat and are allowed to include the 4 to 1 slope. Are you okay with that?
Yes, yes, that is what we are seeking, and we agree with that. And we didn't identify them on the plat yet or on the plan because we're waiting to see the results of the waiver. If the waiver passes, then that changes what area we will highlight as our open space.
So help me a little bit here, Jennifer. So that you guys are in agreement with?
We're good.
Okay, so
As far as staff, with the conditions we approved.
basically, I mean, just to cut to the chase here, they've laid out some very specific conditions and you folks seem to be okay with those conditions. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Anyone else have any questions, Petitioner? On these items?
The waivers.
Yeah, and maybe I should continue on here to open it up for public comment on that particular issue, because we will be voting separately on those. So I
Yeah,
guess that means we close it open, for the variances, the plat and the.
yeah, I mean, and I can go through the secondary. He can talk, we can go through the development plan, he can talk, and then you can open it all up at once, or we can do each individual opening the public hearing. It's your choice.
And what would you suggest on that?
As a style point, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Would it be more effective than you? Let's do it the way you feel is most effective.
I'm going to guess that most people here that want to speak are not worried about like the individual points.
Okay,
That would, I don't know which way is better.
okay,
Do it all at once.
okay.
Yeah.
So we will make the separate votes at the end of that. Okay, so is there so going forward, since you're up here, sir, is there anything on the secondary plat issues that you care to speak of that they have mentioned and the development for that matter?
We do not have. Just reviewing their condition. We agree with basically the staff report and their conditions to the secondary plat and to the conditions for the waivers.
Okay.
So we are fully in support of that. And then
The development plan would be the last
Why the need for the change from lot 3 to 2 or from combining the lots? Was that
one. Meeting. Okay. So as part of the primary, they were debating how to develop these lots, the applicant was. So they decided to do 1 and 2. When trying to lay out the development plan for it, it really just didn't work to have that separate lot. So combining what used to be lot 2 with lot 1, just creating all of lot 1 made more sense for setbacks. Where the private street would be located, easements, then you weren't dealing with 2 properties.
It was not regards to a drainage issue?
No.
And then in the back, in the future, which we are not working on now, but there's 4 additional tracks that are per the original primary plat.
Mhm.
And those are likely to also be combined when they come up for secondary plat. Whether that is they can combine the north and south ones, or they combine them east and west, or they combine all 4 into one. It depends on how much they want to develop at the time, but they're likely to also be combined just based on how it's going to get developed at the time.
Okay, yeah, and that seems reasonable. And like Jennifer, I'm assuming that, big concern here is the drainage, is the water, is with the county, the coordination between all of that.
Yeah.
They, like the residents, I'm sure anybody around does not want to see that either deteriorate or in any form. Improve would be nice,
So if since we're going to just do it all at once, I will go ahead and speak a little bit more on just the rest of the development in general. So we sought a waiver for a variance of BZA to install our drives as gravel as well. So installing the private street and the drives as gravel will reduce the amount of stormwater runoff because those are pervious surfaces. They let some water infiltrate rather than wash off. But our stormwater detention basin and all of our stormwater system is designed for it to be paved as well. So as it's installed as gravel, our stormwater basin and our stormwater conveyance will be over-designed. So it's conservative and it's safer with the water. We have gone through the county. The county has reviewed our stormwater plans technically. The engineer has reviewed all our technical and we've met all their technical requirements. We are still awaiting a final approval based on a stormwater or a letter with the neighbor to the north that we've been working with to get. So that's one of the conditions going forward anyway with the county approval. We have reached out to IDEM. IDEM's reviewed our construction plans. They have approved technically our construction stormwater general permit. They're the ones who do all permitting for construction for stormwater on all projects that are more than 1 acre. So IDEM staff reviewed our project for that. They're fine with it. And then IDEM and the United States Army Corps of Engineers, we've reached out to them to discuss our stormwater detention and discharging above that existing pond. And they both take no issue with that as well. Then we are going through our permit with NDOT to connect the watershed drive to State Road 127. They have reviewed our traffic. They have reviewed our initial plans. They had a couple comments just on how to graphically show things, but we have updated the plans and sent it back to them. I'm estimating that they will get back to me within a couple weeks with final approval on that. The only thing outstanding on that would be our bond. And then, so everyone knows, we'll pave within the right of way of NDOT. That's a 50-foot right of way. And so that will be pavement before it transitions to gravel or watershed drive. So that way, hopefully there's no gravel getting out onto 127. And then just another note is that lot 3, once lot 3 develops, we're not really expecting that to be storage condos at all. We're expecting that to just be a standard commercial development, maybe professional offices. They may want watershed drive paved further back for their entrances as well. So it may get paved further back than just at the right of way, even if it is currently gravel. But like I said, all of our stormwater was planned for this all as pavement, not knowing if we would get our BZA and variance or our waivers. And I think that covers all of it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Anyone else comment? Okay, thank you. We will open the meeting up to public comment at this time. If there is anybody who wishes to speak for or against this petition, you're welcome to do so. We ask you state your name and your address.
My name is Tita Gordon. You want my home address? We have the property in front of lot 3. Or do you want my home address? But anyway, I have
I've
some,
got their address.
We got it. Okay, thank you.
okay. I have some questions and he said lot 3 is going to be businesses. And we own the property immediately in front of that between Old 27 and lot 3. So my question is, how close are they allowed to get to our land with that? I see a dotted line around there. Is that the 10 feet? I mean, at this point, our property is not developed.
Right.
But when I go to do that, then I have this to contend with. I have the driveway on the north side, and I have these proposed businesses behind me.
So lot 3, then, yeah, I don't think we're specifically discussing lot 3.
No, but I just wanted to know how much distance has to remain between.
Well, I'm sure the city can probably, these folks can probably get you the information
Okay.
about setbacks and what you would need there, but that's not really germane to what we're trying to discuss on these particular lots.
Okay,
I can answer those questions.
Okay, Jennifer.
So I'm pulling up the C2 standards. I know they're hard to read, but that property lot 3 is zone C2. Down. So the required setbacks are the front yard is 50 feet, the side is 20, and the rear is 20.
okay. So that makes it 50 feet from our property.
The front would be considered
Or is the front the one facing the road?
right here, yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the side is what?
20.
Okay, so that would be 20 feet because our property is that odd shape that,
Yeah,
I mean, there's a little bit next to, up there, even closer to the road, and then,
yes,
so that's gonna be 20 feet all the way around.
yeah.
Am I understanding that
Can you see my
correctly?
cursor over here?
Yes,
Yeah, right there.
and up there as well, and on the other, because that
This would
property,
be the 50, right, 50 right here.
okay. Okay, and you guys have, as you said, calculated that we're not gonna have, I mean, we all see how wet Indiana is in the spring, especially this, it's not spring, it's still winter. Spring hasn't even hit us yet with its wet. And all this is gonna take care of this drainage, because they're using up a lot of this land for these buildings. So you're guaranteeing that that's not gonna be a problem?
That is the county's jurisdiction, so as Wayne talked about, the county has reviewed that and they don't have any issues with that.
Okay, well, I guess they know better than I because they're the people responsible for doing it, but it sure seems like a lot of land taken up with a lot of water going somewhere. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Well, I just want to see if there's anyone else that wishes to speak. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak on behalf of, for, or against the petition that is being discussed? Okay, hearing none, I will close that particular portion of the meeting. Would you like to reply to that issue, and then we'll discuss amongst ourselves?
So as you said, we are not currently submitting a development plan for lot 3. So that's not under what we're doing at this time. But to her point, we will be lot 3, when it's developed, will meet the standard, whatever, either the 20-foot side and rear yard setbacks or the 50-yard front yard setback. And then also they will have the 10-foot perimeter landscaping that's required. So that entire border with their property on our property will have to have a 10-foot wide landscape buffer that will have to be 50% evergreen shrubs or trees. And then on the drainage point, lot 3 has, when we sized our stormwater basin, we were overly conservative with lot 3, and in our calculations, we just paved all of lot 3, so made it all impervious area. So it will handle the stormwater, and all of the conveyance infrastructure past lot 3 is sized for the 100-year storm event. So the 100-year recurrence interval storm event will be maintained by our stormwater and will continue on. So anything upstream from us, so that would be the neighbors to the south and the neighbors to the southwest there. So it will be conveyed how it's currently conveyed, and we made sure to upgrade whatever we did there to allow for a 100-year storm event.
Thank you. Does anyone else have questions inside of the members here? Again, we'll be taking this as a 3, correct, a 3-step motion for,
Well, each waiver has.
actually, yeah, each waiver.
So, 5.
Yeah, so we will have 5. Okay, thank you. You've been laughing about this a while, haven't you? Anyone else have anything to add to that?
I have a question,
Yeah.
and I missed a meeting or two, and but I was curious about the turn lane. What happened to consideration of a turn lane?
So that is a state right of way. So it's up to them to determine if a turn lane is required.
And it still hasn't.
Correct.
Yeah, and then they'll just,
Curious.
given the use and how much volume something like that would have, then yeah, I'm sure they'll decide on that.
Thank you.
Was there any other correspondence, Jennifer? Well, let's go to it again.
From
Oh, yes, it's
for
Mary.
quorum, right?
Yeah, yeah, probably so. Do we want to take a 5-minute? Yeah, let's do that. 5 minutes, we'll reconvene.
Oh, if I can pause this.
Muted at least.
Oh, yeah, is it right at the top?
I don't think I can, guys. I don't think I can.
Yeah,
So we'll just take a few minute break.
yeah, I'm following that.
Never know.
When we left, we were going to start the process of the variances. Now, those have no findings of fact, correct? Waivers. Or the waivers. Excuse me. Thank
They
you.
do not have findings.
Okay, so we will take each one of those, and we'll start with the back of that page.
Page 9, open space.
Yes, the open space. Thank you.
Make a motion we approve with conditions, the open space design standards waiver with the conditions that are listed.
Okay, we have a motion with the conditions listed on the open space waiver. Is there a second for that? Okay, Mr. McDermott seconds. All those in favor of the motion as it's been laid out, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hearing none, okay, that waiver has passed. We will take a motion on the landscaping perimeter waiver.
I'll move that we accept the landscaping waiver request with the, are there conditions?
Yes.
With conditions that are listed as well.
Yeah, and the conditions listed below there. Correct. We have a motion for the perimeter landscaping waiver. Is there a second with the conditions listed?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Wright, is there a second? All those in favor of the motion as it is have been stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none. And then the last waiver regarding the street lighting.
I'll move that we accept the street lighting waiver request
There's a street lighting waiver request motion.
With the condition.
with the conditions. With the conditions.
Yes. Yes, there is a condition. Okay, as the condition stated, is there a second for that? Tina will second. All those in favor of that motion as stated, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, hearing none, we will accept that waiver. That leads us to the secondary plat approval. And if we could have the findings.
They're not findings.
They're not,
Secondary
oh, for the
plat.
secondary, because we had that in the first, but yet there's changes, but that's okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And is there items
Page
that,
12.
yeah, is there items that need to be listed for that particular, is there, yes, there are, okay, thank you.
Make a motion, we approve the secretary plat with the conditions that are listed.
That would be the private drive, the outstanding plan B, and change of the bylaws. Okay, we have a motion for the secondary plat with the conditions listed. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. Susan will second. All those in favor of the motion as has been stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, that motion is passed. Last being the development. There are findings for the development. So, just a couple.
All right, so this is for the development plan approval. We're gonna move to the findings of facts. So the development plan is or is not consistent with the Angola Comprehensive Plan.
Is.
Number two, the development plan does or does not cause a hazard or unsafe condition for drivers on the existing or proposed streets or point of access to perimeter streets.
Does not.
Staff proposes the finding. Hold on, let me get there. That because State Route 127 has adequate right-of-way and was constructed to handle this type and quantity of traffic expected for the development. Do you agree or disagree?
Agree.
Number three, the development plan does or does not cause existing or proposed streets to exceed their capacity or cause traffic congestion.
Does not.
Staff proposes the finding that State Route 127 was constructed to handle this type and quantity of traffic expected for the development. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
The development plan dedicates the necessary right-of-way for future expansion of perimeter roads as indicated in the thoroughfare plan.
Does.
I mean, that's basically it, yeah. Number five, the development plan creates a safe environment for pedestrians to safely move about the development and connect to perimeter pedestrian facilities. The development is designed for storage, specifically recreational vehicles. Therefore, the focus is on storage. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
The development plan arranges buildings and structures appropriately for the function and aesthetic appeal.
Does.
The development plan arranges the facility appropriate for the storage and function, and will have existing and proposed landscaping buffering to improve aesthetics. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
Number 7, the development plan is or is not compatible with surrounding uses, buildings, zoning districts, or is designed to effectively and appropriately buffer transition to uses, buildings, or zoning districts which are in conflict.
Is,
Staff proposes the finding that, they're gonna have existing and proposed landscaping. Do we agree with that finding? The development plan does or does not satisfy the applicable development standards of Division 2, the zoning districts title.
it does.
Staff proposes the finding that it does, once all plan review and routing comments are adequately addressed. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
The plan satisfies all applicable, development standards of Division, that's 5, right? 6, sorry, other way. Once all plan review, development standards, and then and then once all the plan review and routing comments are adequately addressed.
Agree.
The development plan satisfies all the applicable design standards of Division 5, the design standards. Staff proposes the finding again of once all plan review and routing comments are adequately addressed. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
The development plan satisfies all other applicable standards.
Does.
Again, once all the routing comments are addressed and you just approve the requested waivers.
Agree.
The development plan satisfies the construction requirements of the City of Angola construction standards.
Does.
Staff proposes the finding that it does meet the City of Angola's, but also the county highway. Agree or disagree?
Thank you, Jennifer. We will take a motion regarding the development.
Move that we accept the development plan as stated.
Do you wish the conditions on page 15?
With the conditions, yes, thank you very much, with the conditions on page 15.
Okay. There is a motion on the floor for the development. There is a second with the conditions stated. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, that motion has passed. I know it's been a long road, but I think everybody wants to see this be successful and everyone working together. So thank you. All right, Jennifer, the last item of the evening is addresses, I believe.
Correct. And I'll let Amanda.
So Fieldcrest Drive, the homeowner requested an address there. They're looking at the potentially putting a home there in the future.
On Fieldcrest.
So we addressed that 308 Fieldcrest Drive.
Would anyone care to make a motion to accept the address that has been suggested by staff for this vacant lot? So Susan makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Tina will second. Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Hearing none. Is there a second? I believe there's a second address.
Yeah, the second one is for 610 Woolert Street. This is a city-owned property, and so the desire to have an address here is for emergency reasons. We have employees that work down there occasionally, and so if emergency services needed to be called, they wanted an address for that.
Reasonable and good idea. Is there a motion for that?
I'll move that we accept the address change,
There is a motion for the address,
addition of
the
the address.
addition of an address at this site. Is there a second? Steve will second. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, that motion has passed. Is there any other reports for this evening? I have none. Hearing none, is next meeting date will be, we have that on here, on there, April 10th, thank you. And then, of course, the one that we had moved, that date will most likely be then.
President Martin, I also will need to recuse myself from the Steuben County.
Yes, we'll need to discuss the quorum issue regarding that petition. When we get closer to that, yeah. Understand, so, thank you. We'll accept the motion to adjourn if there are no other business for this evening. I'll make that motion.
And I'll second that.
Is that all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, folks.
Congratulations, guys.
Lots to gather.